What's up, guys? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. One headphone. Oh, jeez. Give me 1 second here. Is that better? How is this now? Is that coming through both ears? Turn it up a bit? Sure, I can do that. How is that now? Awesome. Oh, more? Even more? Okay, well, I can also just talk a little bit louder. How's everyone doing? Howdy, howdy. Hey, Colt. Puzzle-headed. Will I come to your dog's birthday? When is your dog's birthday? Oh, what's up, last protagonist? Oh, is it really that quiet? Let me see what I can do here. How's this? Is that a bit better? I'm playing with a new setup now. I finally got a real computer, so I've got everything stationed up. My 2011 MacBook is a thing of the past. I've got some real real things going on here. So puzzle-headed, you're saying 8 months from now? Let's see, 8 months from now would be. Don't make me do math. Tell me about it in 3 months, and then I'll give you an answer. What's up, John? How's everyone doing? So I should just tell you right away that I've got absolutely horrible hay fever. So if my voice is kind of messed up, it's because of that. And that also means, this stream is ending whenever my voice kind of conks on me. So, but since I have a new computer, it sounds kind of echoey. Let's see. Yeah, it might just be my throat is absolutely shot at the moment. And in addition to that, I forgot that Armored Core was coming out today, so I'm probably doing this at the same time as some other streamers. I saw a little bit of Ratatosker streaming it. That seemed fun. I'm probably not going to play it, at least at the moment. Got a couple other things I want to do, but it looks interesting. So, what I thought I'd do today. Oh, 1 sec. What I thought I'd do today is start this Elden Ring up. Let's see. And let's see. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to, I don't know, test it out on the computer, see how it looks, see how it sounds, and I don't know, talk about some lore. Oh, by the way, thank you to everyone for the views on the last video that just passed 100K. That was awesome, and 10K subscribers. So that's awesome. So thank you for all of that. Oh, thank you, last protagonist. I'm glad you've been enjoying them. Yeah, sorry, I missed the last one. I was kind of traveling a lot, and now I'm back and got the new setup. So hopefully my whole process is going to get a little bit smoother. So I don't really have a plan. I just kind of want to test things out with a higher frame rate and check out some lore. So let's see. You know, I think I'll start in as a astrologer, because I don't know. Bow challenge run. Yeah. Oh, right. This is weird now. Okay. And let's see, what's the most interesting item? And you guys can just tell whatever you want to see. I don't really have a plan right now, so if you want me to pick something, just let me know. Yeah, this is on PC now. I got a whole real PC. I've just been playing around with it all day and trying different things out. So, exclusive lore with the Lands Between rune. Oh, that's fair enough. All right. Yeah, because we'll get everything else, right? Because Crimson Amber, you buy that from the Nomadic Merchant. Golden Seed, there are a bunch of those. Fanged Imp. Witching Branch is interesting, but I actually don't remember where you get the thing to craft that. I'll have to think about that one. Right, yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. Fist only. Let's just modify this a reasonable amount. We won't go into too much detail. Whoa, what's with this visual glitching? That's not good. All right. Well, I hope the video's coming through all right. This is totally new setup for me, so I don't really know how everything's looking. Let's see. Do I plan on getting a PS5? Yeah, maybe at some point. When like interesting games come out on it. At the moment, it's kind of there we go. This is what I'm looking for. Gotta go for the extremes. Oh, hey, Kate is Kate. How's it going? It's been a while since I've been in any of the Discords, so nice to see some of these people. No, I didn't end up building a PC. I was kind of waiting for prices to drop on GPUs, but they really haven't. So I just ended up buying a whole package. It was a little easier. There we go. Beautiful. Now we're gonna get some sorcerer vibes here. So let's see. That looks good. And excuse me. Let's see. Beautiful. Now there's one thing I want to change, which is... There we go. Alright. Oh, you know what? Since we're going lore, let's go for some purple eyes, because, you know, something going on there. beauteous. And he's got to have a big head because he's intelligent. And we'll just shrink down everything else. Incredible. Alright, let's see it. Oh, and let me know how the game audio is. I can turn that up.
Fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered
As if there was any other kind of Elden Ring.
in our home across the fog.
Oh, okay. We got to turn up the game audio. I will do that. Is that a bit better?
Now, Queen
You know, it might be low in game, so I'll turn it up once things start.
And in the night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was
No, I mean,
first
at least, you know, if I get it right this time, then next stream I'll just save the settings.
soon. Marika's offspring.
So, is Ronnie one of Marika's offspring? And does that mean that
The shards.
Radagon was
Elden
Marika at that time? This is really, I mean, the origin of Radagon, I feel like, is the big key to unlock everything.
Newfound strength.
Because that sort of unlocks Ronnie, it unlocks Mikola, it unlocks what's going on with Marika's motivations, you know, the history of the lands between, the Golden Order. It kind of unlocks everything if we just know where Radagon comes from.
A war leading to abandonment by the greater will.
All right, John, I'll be looking forward to that.
Oh, rise now, ye
When did I put
tarnished
the ceiling of destined
Ye
death on the
dead.
timeline?
who yet live?
My sort of working hypothesis
Call of
is that
long-lost grace
the
speaks to us all.
when Marika defeated the Giants, that was when Destined Death was removed from the Elden Ring. But I'm still sort of unclear whether
Chieftain
that
of
also
the
means
Badlands,
the like
The
Malekith's ceiling,
ever-brilliant
if that's the same thing or if that's something different.
Fear, the deathbed companion, the loathsome dung-eater, and Sir Gideon Ofnir, the all-knowing.
Yeah, Colt, I've played with that theory as well. Essentially, when she cursed the Giants cursed her, or the curse reflected in some way as the origin story for Radagon. And there definitely is. I think it's the which one of the shields with the giant face on it. I can't remember if it's the cannon one or the flamethrower one.
Tarnished.
But one of them says that, you know, this evil deity, when it talks about the fell god, it says this evil deity is thought to have been slain by Queen Marika.
To the lands
And obviously that's not true because we know that it still exists within the fire giants. So clearly there was some shenanigans about what happened at the end of the war with the giants that is sort of hidden from history. Yeah, it's all sort of vague, and it's all with this speculative, you know, speculative framework. So it's kind of hard to tell whether that's true or not. This guy looks beautiful. We gotta get some lighting here. And one of the interesting things is that the astrologer starts out with this scripture shield. It says an ancient cipher engraving lines the circumference, and it boosts holy damage negation, which is kind of odd. Like, why would the astrologers have this? And that's clearly the same language that the two fingers speak, right? It's got that similar, like, Tamil kind of look to it. This isn't a great... Seems kind of dark, actually. That might be too light, but I just want to see it. Yeah, so that's clearly the same cipher of light that the two fingers communicate in. So, I mean, we do know that Ratigan married Renala, and they sort of conjoined the... actually, Rogier says, I think, that the marriage, they adopted the practices... you know, let me look up. I've got the thing open here, so let me just look it up. So if you can hear my keyboard, it's like super clackety clack. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, so Rogier says, he's talking about the Academy of Raya Lucaria, and he says, in the past they obeyed laws which contravened the Golden Order, or so I'm told. And he says, fascinating, isn't it, that the Golden Order was pliable enough to absorb practices that contradicted itself in the past. So, it does seem like, let me bring this all up again. It does seem like the sort of the astrologers, the glintstone sorcerers, that they became cool under the Golden Order at some point with Ratigan and Renala's marriage. So that may be why they have this. But it's odd that it boosts holy damage negation. As you'd think if it was like from a holy thing. I don't know. I guess maybe that's not too weird. What does this one say? Staff of the astrologers. Yeah, nothing super interesting. They read fate in the stars, and are said to be heirs of the glintstone sorcerers. That's also an odd thing. You can barely hear me? Wow, why is the audio so low? On OBS it looks like it's going right up to the top. I'll pump up the gain again, but then you're gonna get some like weird background noise. How's that? Is that am I I'm going into the red there. I wonder if there's something, let me see. A little blown out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's so quiet. Yeah. This is higher than I usually do for streams, at least visually, but you know. Yeah, I'll probably have to run a few test streams. Sorry, I don't want to blow out anybody's ears, but I don't know how it sounds there, so it's also just my voice. So, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, this whole thing about like the heirs to the glintstone sorcerers. because that's sort of weird because it feels like, well, the astrologers, they were neighbors with the giants, so shouldn't they be before the glintstone sorcerers? I've never really understood what was going on there. But all this stuff about fate in the stars, that's yeah, why did Radon hold back the stars? Man, that's a big question. Since the night sky no longer cradles fate, they are not the heirs. To keep things like Estelle at bay? Yeah. What's this? The preceptor set contradicts the astrologer robe. Preceptor set. Oh, that's Celiovis's. Okay, well, I may not get there in this stream, but I'll have to check that out again. Yeah, fate is probably the biggest question that I have. I mean, I had some crazy theories in my last video about time travel and stuff, but I don't know if I really believe anything that I said, or like maybe 60% believe it. I don't know. Should I even try to fight this guy? Yeah. How much falling star beasts fall when you kill Radon? Sorry. I just didn't... even if I did beat him, it just takes so long. Oh, here we go. Glintstone sorcerers are the descendants of astrologers, a fact that the Carians remain aware of, even if their fate has been long severed from the stars. Thanks, last protagonist, for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, actually. Have you noticed the wind in the chapel always blows east, contacting with the western wall, Stormvale, where it's deteriorating?
Fortune is on his side.
Huh.
We found him here, after all.
I'm hesitant to kind of read into that as a lore. I don't know. I'd have to like put that in the context of where the wind is blowing in other parts of the game.
His kind is
Because I would assume from a game dev perspective that like probably there isn't this sophisticated wind system going on in the game, and that is probably the same direction. Like for each area, it's probably the same direction that it's moving in. I don't know. I would need more context to evaluate whether that's a significant thing. Yeah, as far as Radon stopping the stars, I think one of the more likely ideas is that it's, well, I don't know, there's a couple. I mean, one is that there's just a bunch of stars crashing into the world all the time, you know, or Astell's falling star beasts, and he's just, you know, trying to protect everyone. But there is that sword monument that says Radon holds Celia secure, as if it's specifically Celia that's under threat. You could read it a couple different ways, but one possibility is that something, a star was destined, you know, fated to hit Celia specifically. So, yeah. John says, regarding Rani and the fate in the stars, are you familiar with these things in Hinduism called tevas? You know, that sounds vaguely familiar. In some of my research about like the Hermetic tradition, there was stuff that I came across in Vedic astrology, and there's a church name that comes from well, debatably comes from Hinduism. I want to say it's Irith, maybe, actually. The one on the other side of Stormvale. Yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole that I have not delved into. Actually, just astrology in general. Oh, how's it going, Sorel? Nope, that's Estelle. I'm not sure who you're responding to. Greater Will banished them underground. In the English version, at least. Japanese seems to imply more that they went underground after losing a conflict with the Greater Will's followers. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, as the Assailant points out, the only problem with the Celia idea, with as it concerns Radon holding back the stars, is that, like, when you kill Radon, the star doesn't hit Celia, it hits Limgrave. So... Oh, I see. Okay, you were responding to Bilbo. Lusat is in Celia and is a master of falling stars. On the subject of Lusat, like, one thing which I'm still uncertain about... Okay, there's a couple things, but the whole thing with Lusat and Azur studying comets and meteors, that these are sort of contrasted against each other as, like, almost two sides of something, or like some kind of dichotomy or duality there. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it is interesting that, like, the Comet Azur thing is all this blue-green magic, which is like glintstone, whereas Lusat's sorceries, I think, are... Well, no, because his two basic sorceries are blue, but then the Stars of Ruin, I want to say, are more indigo. Like the Founding Rain of Stars. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, and I'm not really sure if... Like, you have stars, meteors, comets, and then you have stars in the form of, like, Astel, which is like a creature, versus... I don't know, the falling star that hits Limgrave. Like, I don't know, it's kind of... It's a little bit confusing. Like, everything in Elden Ring, it's just a little bit like everything else, but kind of different. And that makes it really annoying. Stars of Ruin definitely match Founding Rain. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Let's talk to Kale.
You're a tarnished. I can see it. But I can also see that you're not after my throat. Then why not purchase a little something? I am Kale, purveyor of fine goods.
I like his voice actor.
You know, if you can spare the runes, you should buy yourself a crafting kit. A crafting kit allows you to make basic items on your own. Essential, really, if you intend to survive out here for any duration.
I like that. Estelle is a star, but like a movie star kind of star. That's good.
The important thing is that you survive. Every customer counts, after all.
Oh, right. Oh, let's read this rune. So I think the first part is in all the runes, but the second part, no grace resides in the eyes of the tarnished. If it ever did, it is now lost. Yeah, that's you know, one of the things I kind of wish I'd started out with a Confessor set, because I remember something there which sort of implies that, like, there are churches of the Two Fingers outside of the Lands Between. And that's such a tricky one for me because there's a lot that makes it really appetizing to or appealing to think of the Lands Between as like this sort of metaphysically different place. That, you know, the ocean isn't just like a normal physical ocean, but that there is some sort of metaphysical barrier there. But and you can kind of make that work with things like the Land of Reeds even. But when you talk about having churches with the two fingers, or churches of the two fingers outside of the Lands Between, that kind of that confuses things. I guess it's still technically possible, but I'm just gonna set things up how I like it. I'm gonna change this to this, so I can switch through my sorceries really quick. Awesome. I think, Sorel says, I think the Lands Between might be metaphysically or spatially different, what with the symbolic fog and all, but the ring and America's faith definitely exist outside them. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Oh, Cadus Kate provided it. So this is, I guess, the Confessor's set says, the churches outside the Lands Between, dedicated to the teachings of the two fingers, send confessors out to follow the guidance of grace. Yeah, that's a... Sorry, I'm just going to get a cough drop because my throat's a little shot. That is an interesting one. Okay. I guess let's just go grab Torrent and then we can start exploring. Excuse me. Man, ragweed is just the worst thing in the world. Just gonna practice my parrying.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord.
Oh, sweet. I actually already have an accord.
Have you heard of the Finger Maidens? They serve the Two Fingers, offering guidance and aid to the Tarnished. But you, I am afraid, are maidenless. I can play the role of maiden, turning runes into strength to aid you in your search for the Elden Ring.
So one question would be,
You need only take me with you
do,
to the foot
like,
of the
okay,
Erdtree.
people who live outside of the lands between, are they all tarnished? Sorry. Are they all tarnished?
Then
The
it's
people who
settled.
live outside the lands between?
Summon me by grace.
Because presumably they're
to
not
strength.
getting the grace from the Erd Tree, right? Do they have other Erd Trees out
Another
there?
matter. I bequeath to you this ring. Use it to traverse great distances. It will summon a spectral steed named Torrent. Torrent has chosen you. Treat him with respect.
So, what I'm thinking about right now is just like, is Melina... What's Melina's relationship with Mikola? Because presumably the reason that Melina has Torrent... I mean, if we take the DLC image as canon, which it would seem appropriate to, then that means that Mikola had Torrent. So at some point Mikola gave it to Melina? I think there's a good reason to think that Melina is some part of Marika or something along those lines. Like Marika's spirit, her clone, I don't know. Why would Mickey have Tori? Well, okay, there's a couple of assumptions going on there, but if we... let me pull it open, actually. Let me see. Where is it? There we go. So that is definitely, I mean, as certain as we can reasonably be, that is Mikola in that picture. And he's riding Torrent. So, I mean, it's hard to say whether this is like the past or maybe it's the future, or who knows what. Although if it was the future, then we have to assume that Mikola got Torrent from you. Or maybe it's another universe, I mean, who knows what. But I think it's reasonable to assume that Mikola had Torrent before the events of Elden Ring. What if she's similar to the GEQ because she's created in GEQ's image? Okay, that kind of gets to my theory that that Melina is the Glowmite Queen. Which... Damn, I don't know if I can fully lay out here. I've been thinking about making a video on it. I mean, for one, Marika is... Okay, there's two major pieces, two major reasons that I think that. One is very simple and kind of shallow, and it's just the fact that there are only 3 people named Queen in the game. The Glowmite Queen, Queen Marika, and Queen Renala. I think it's fair to discount Queen Renala from that, And also, we know that the Glomite Queen was an Empyrean. We know that Marika was an Empyrean. So, you know, as Occam's razor, you can argue about how to apply it, but, oh, that's true, there's the demi-human queens. Yeah. There's only one queen who is an Empyrean in the game, and just that alone, kind of, I feel like that is pretty indicative. I mean, again, it's kind of like, it's just correlation, but however, the other piece of evidence would be that the Glomite Queen wielded the power of the Rune of Death. I want to get this exactly right, so I'm trying to remember all the item descriptions. It doesn't actually say that she wielded the Rune of Death, but she wielded the Black Flame, and the Black Flame had this power to kill gods before the Rune of Death was sealed away. Now, if you make the assumption that she could only wield the power of the Rune of Death if the Rune of Death was not part of the Elden Ring, which is, it's an assumption, it's not, you know, this is not how things have to be, but if you make that assumption, the only thing that makes sense is if the person who removed the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring had it. And you can also think about it that way, like, Marika removed the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring. Again, everything is sort of like, I want to hedge everything because we can't, like, say anything for certain, but if Marika removed the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring, then she would have the Rune of Death, and it would make sense that she would use it. And it's also like the Rune of Death is always, it's depicted like a sword, and then, you know, it gets imbued in Malekith's sword, and you have the Glomite Queen's sword. I don't know. There's other things which I'd have to think about to really lay it out in full detail, but I just think that makes the most sense. She's also, I mean, she's clearly, like, she's always wearing black, like Malekith. I don't know. There's a couple other things. It's not. I would put like 70% confidence in the idea that Marika is the Glomite Queen. I'm always suspicious of, like, oh, this character is that character, because I don't know, you can kind of just do that with anyone. But if you assume, so I see a couple people sort of getting to this, like, if you assume that Marika is the Glomite Queen, then Melina's relationship kind of makes a lot more sense. If she is some kind of, you know, child slash clone slash, you know, part of, essence of, whatever, like, Marika's body is strung up inside the Erd Tree, and her spirit is manifesting in some way as Melina. That kind of explains all of Melina's relationships to the Glomite Queen as well, because she literally was the Glomite Queen. So, I don't know. It's a bit of a crazy theory. I'd have to write a bunch of stuff out to kind of lay the theory out in the best way I can. But, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Oh, thank you, Kate. The Black Flame could once slay gods, but when Malekith sealed destined death, the true power of the Black Flame was lost. Yeah. So the Black Flame, I mean, and that also kind of implies that maybe the Black Flame was the Red Flames of destined death, that those were kind of the same thing. Along with the idea that, like, well, there's that cut line of dialogue that when you unleash destined death, it says Black Flames devour the Erd Tree. Of course, it was cut, so it's possible that they wanted to remove that connotation. Wouldn't Melina have the fingerprint burns if that were true? The fingerprint burns. Yeah. Sorrel says, it seems pretty clear to me that all of Marika's children were born after she had established the Golden Order, and the GQ was a challenger to her before that. The thing is, there's no mention of any kind of conflict between the Glomite Queen and Marika. Right, so the only mention of a conflict is between the Glomite Queen and Malekith. And one thing that we know about shadowbound beasts is that they go mad when they are sort of forced to betray the Empyrean that they're shadowbound to. So we know that Malekith is the shadowbound beast to Marika, and we know that he is now mad. Now you can argue maybe it's for a different reason, but to me that's pretty suggestive. Like, we have this whole storyline with Blythe, which is a perfect parallel to telling us something about Malekith as the only other shadowbound beast that we know of in the game. And we see Malekith and he's gone crazy, which means that he betrayed Marika in some way, that he did something, or rather that Marika did something that contravened, you know, her mandate, and he was forced to respond to her. I mean, to me that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm not going to say that this is a certainty or anything, but it makes a lot of sense if you imagine that Marika was the Glomite Queen, and that she did something. She did something to trigger Malekith.
What'd you go and do that for?
And you know what I need to get is the... I need to get the telescope.
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word? A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk I surmise is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent. Trifle not with me, Tarnished. Or didst thou merely forget the name of the spectral steed thou callest? I will ask thee again. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent. Quite the stubborn one, aren't we? Wise in a way. The lands between are home to lies and cheats aplenty. Perhaps thine ample mistrust will be to thy benefit. I shall leave this for thee, at the behest of Torrent's former master. Take it.
Which means
Shouldst thou overcome
Nicola.
thy suspicion.
Presumably. Spirits of wolves chased from their pack, they later encountered a nameless Tarnished, who welcomed them as hunting companions. Can a demigod be tarnished? Actually, are the demigods tarnished? Man, you guys, I'm gonna have to like reread all these comments because these are like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, take care, Tevin. Yes, good point about the fog. Sorry, I should have left it to see. That is weird. That Ronnie comes in with this fog. That puts Kali to sleep, actually. Plus, Destined Death predates the Erd Tree. Its rune is at the bottom of Farum Azula's version of the Elden Ring symbol. I don't see that. People say that. You know, I think in game, like, if you imagine it's really tiny, maybe. But I think when you look at the... Let me find the concept art for it. So, there... Can I like a... Yeah. So... I don't really see it. I don't see it there. And I think even in game, I think what you're seeing is just the bottom part of that caduceus. I don't think it's Destined Death. Watch the Age of Stars ending and tell me you don't see purple Trina fog. Yeah. I mean, the problem is... excuse me. The problem is that, like, everything in Elden Ring is sort of like everything else in Elden Ring. And so... I don't know if that's like... What could it be? Is Ronnie Trina? Because we know that Trina is Mikola, right? But then, presumably, Mikola knew Ronnie... because he gave her this spirit calling bell, assuming that was Mikola. Well, this is really a beautiful game, though. I mean, the moon has already disappeared. Interesting. Yeah, the claw tattoo, I mean, I think the claw... This is the perfect example of the problem with Elden Ring, because you can make very convincing arguments that it's a beast claw, or that it's related to the death birds, or that it's related to the three fingers. I mean, it really does look like... I don't have it, but the foul foot, you know, it looks like a bird talon. Here's another odd thing. Why do these guys scream at night? Oh, I totally forgot. I was gonna go and get the telescope so I could look at stuff. Oh, thanks for stopping by, last protagonist. Yeah, peace.
Goodbye.
So, let's see. Deathbird Ravenclaw, she's the GQ. Stormhawks. I mean, this is the problem, is everything in Elden Ring is, like, partially connected to something else, but then also not. And I wonder how much of that is Miyazaki deliberately trying to confuse things. So, I mean, these guys, they're guilty, right? He's wearing the guilty hood with the thorns on it. They've got these, like, smoldering bodies. There's a lot of corpses with smoldering bodies. But these guys only scream when it's nighttime. In the daytime, they're fine. Which is actually maybe the most interesting bit of lore relating to the sun. Because it has something to do with the sun, right? When the sun is out, whatever is harming them is abated. So, I mean, what is going on there? And also, why, the other thing connected with that would be, why do demi-humans go crazy at night? Right, why do their eyes turn red and they become feral? I'm not sure about that. Let's see. Where's a good lore-rich place? I think let's go up to Liurnia. Are the guilty reborn as demi-humans? That's an interesting idea. I had not thought about that. I mean, they are similarly sort of second-class citizens, as it were. Yeah, it's possible it's the moons. Sorry, that was in response to Sorrel, who was saying this about nighttime. It's possible it's the moons. But, I mean, yeah, I guess the moon's out now. Is there always a moon out, though? Because I know those guys, I'm pretty sure at least, that they scream no matter what when it's nighttime. And same with the demi-humans. The formless mother. But then what about the sun is... if the formless mother is the one that's influencing the demi-humans, what is it about nighttime or daytime or the moon in particular that's sort of stopping that? Yeah, well, that's another question. We've got at least 2 moons. And possibly 3. Right, because we've got Renala's full moon. We've got Ronnie's dark full moon. It's also a full moon, but dark. And then we've got the black moon, which may be the same as Ronnie's. But Ronnie's may be the same as Renala's, so... Is it all one moon, or is it... like, one moon with 2 different sides? But you can see 2 of them at the same time. But also, like, is the moon an actual rock? Or is it a force? Is it a metaphysical object? I mean, one question would be like, does everybody see... Well, more generally, does everybody see the same thing in Elden Ring? Like, if I see a moon at the Moonlight Altar, does everybody see it if they're at the Moonlight Altar? I think if we do go back in time for the DLC, I would love to see Liurnia unsunk. Because presumably all these cliffs, right, the whole landscape is sinking into the lake, which also may be connected to the Lake of Rot underneath. But presumably, like, everything was once as tall as these cliff edges, and as tall as the Moonlight Altar in Raya Lucaria. The eclipsed sun, drained of color, is the protective star of soulless demigods. It aids the Mausoleum Knights by keeping destined death at bay. Yeah, that's a weird one. It's weird, especially because, like, they've cut off their heads, and that ties in with, like, the bodies in the mausoleum, who presumably are the demigod stepchildren, or the demigod children of Queen Marika, according to that one spirit. And I have no idea what's going on there. Back in time would make the most sense from a design perspective. I mean, here's what I'm excited about. And I gotta be honest, I think I'm gonna end this stream like pretty much now, because my throat and everything is a little rough. I was gonna try it, but sorry to cut this short. But I will say that this is what makes me optimistic. So Armored Core that released today. Armored Core must have been in development for a while, and that means it was a totally different team than Elden Ring. Right, because they must have been working on it for a couple years. That was basically, whenever Sekiro finished, it was that team. A bit more or less. I mean, that seems like the only sensible thing, is that basically FromSoft is pivoting into two teams, sort of like Pokemon, so that they can release a game every 2 years instead of every 5 or 6. So that means that for the last year and a half, the Elden Ring team has been doing what? Just work on Shadow of the Erdtree. Now, if they release it in December, which would make sense for sales, or February, that's basically 2 years of dev time for one team that has already built. You've already built a fully functional movement system, camera, combat. Everything is already built. So what they're building is new enemies and a new map. And that's a fraction of the time it takes to build a game. Which means that this DLC is going to be massive. I think it's going to be orders of magnitude bigger than any previous DLC. Especially now, because they used sort of partially procedural tools for building the map out. So I imagine they could build a map the size of Elden Ring in a fraction of the time. Especially because you imagine that they get these tools. Well, half the time is getting people to learn how to use them, and then figuring out what works. Now they already have that. They know what works. They have all this user data. So I think it's going to be huge. Yeah, the spell game, I don't know if this spellbound stuff is real. I don't really buy the image. Maybe. I think the rumor was that there were initially going to be 2 DLCs, but that they decided to turn them into one. I don't know if that's true. Oh. Alright, guys, listen, my throat is just totally shot, so sorry about that, but I'm going to cut it here. I really appreciate you all popping in. Hopefully I will be streaming a lot more frequently now that I have this set up. I'll try to fix some of the audio kinks. And I'll probably be back on as soon as my throat heals. So sorry about that. I'm gonna cut it here. So thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.